what's up guys, it's Kelly, and today I am sharing quite a large book haul. If you find yourself enjoying this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps me out, and if you're new here and would like to see more of me, then please subscribe. I would like to apologise in advance because I suspect there will be a significant amount of background noise in this video. We have some boxes piled up that my cat is most definitely going to start playing with, and it's going to cause a racket, but we do what we must. So I've been thoroughly spoiled over the last 2 months with presents from publishers. I am lucky that through my YouTube channel and my Instagram I get a decent amount of books from publishers, but on top of that I'm the children's bookseller in my store, so when I see publishers for meetings where they pitch us the books that are coming in the next few months, most of them bring proofs for me as well. Sometimes I even get finished copies. It's pretty great. It's a huge highlight of my job. So yeah, I get gifted, frankly, an obscene amount of books, and today I am sharing them with all of you. And I have a lot of books to go through, so I'm just going to get to them. So first up I have The Beauty of the Wolf by Ray Delaney. This is a gender-swapped Beauty and the Beast retelling. So for He is the Beauty and I be the Beast. You all know I love Beauty and the Beast, and I love Beauty and the Beast retellings, so I'm quite excited for this. I have heard mixed reviews. I've heard some very good reviews, I've heard some terrible reviews. I've heard one very not great review from someone whose opinions I quite trust, so it's gonna be interesting. I've heard that it gets a bit steamy, which was a lot of people's problem with it, but you know, I'm always there for that, so we'll see what my thoughts are on this. Hello. Cool. This was very kindly given to Alan by Jonathan Ball, and he brought it home from work for me. Then I received a book called Dark Blade by Steve Feasey. This is the first book in a new series, although they do say that this can be read as a standalone. This seems to have kind of King Arthur vibes to it, like this boy realizes that he's able to wield this magical sword, and as the name would imply, it seems like it's going to be quite a dark story, although it is kind of on the cusp of middle grade and YA. But I tend to like darker children's stories, so hopefully I will enjoy this. Anything that is fantasy, anything that has chosen one trope, I lap that up. So then I did get this book quite a while ago, and I did mention it in my April wrap-up, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I just wanted to include this in my haul because this was also very kindly given to me at work by Jonathan Ball, which is Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. I absolutely love this. I think it is out internationally, it should be out soon locally, and I highly recommend it if you haven't already read it or bought it. It is a Cinderella retelling that follows her stepsister Isabel, and it's really good. I really loved it. It is probably one of my favourite books that I've read so far this year, so I highly recommend this. And then my last one from Jonathan Ball was sent to me from for my YouTube and my Instagram, and it is The Mysterious Mansion by Daria Song, which is an adult activity book, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I think this might be the most beautiful book that I own, and you know, I own illustrated Harry Potters, I own the illustrated Game of Thrones, and this is just like mind-blowingly stunning. So first of all, you could see the jacket was beautiful, but not only is the jacket stunning, it's reversible. It's just... oh, and then just that is the cover underneath the jacket. And then you go through and it has just these gorgeous spreads inside. So phenomenally beautiful. And I think my favourite thing about it is these pages. So adult colouring books that are like more artistic and have just really beautiful spreads have been gaining popularity, obviously, and activity books have been as well, but the thing that I don't like about them is that the art is always ruined by the activities instructions. So you get this beautiful picture, but then there's this ugly block of text that ruins the whole thing. So what this book does, which I love, is for every chapter it has a page of instructions for the next few pages. So then you go to the page, and rather than it spoiling the art with instructions of what to do, you can just focus on the art, or you can just appreciate the art and like bask in it, and it's amazing. And the other thing that's really incredible about it is it tells a story throughout. So the activities have been divided into chapters that guide you on your way through this mansion. So you could pick it up and flip to random pages and do the activities randomly, but I think I'm going to get a much richer experience if I go through it one page at a time and follow along with the story as I'm doing the activities. So yeah, I'm just absolutely in awe of this. I just fell in love. I'm so in love with this. So thank you very much to Jonathan Ball for all of those. Moving on to Penguin titles, these were all given to me at work. So first up we have The Million Pieces of Neena Gill. This, as the title would imply, is about a girl called Neena Gill, and her brother dies. And in the aftermath of that, she starts developing a psychosis where she starts disassociating and she can't distinguish reality from the things going on inside her head, and she just starts to feel like her life is fracturing and she doesn't know how to put herself back together. Generally, I don't read a lot of YA contemporary, but if I'm going to, then I prefer books that deal with mental health issues, and disassociation is something that I struggle with from time to time. So I'm really interested to see how this book deals with it and the way that it deals with the psychosis of her feeling like her whole life is falling apart. Then I was also given The Secret Dragon by Ed Clark, which seems like a really sweet middle grade about this girl that finds a baby dragon and kind of doesn't know what to do, because what do you do when you find a dragon? And you have to keep it a secret, obviously, because no intelligent adult is going to let you keep a dragon. So she finds this dragon and doesn't really know what to do with it, but she wants to keep it because you've just found a baby dragon, like that's awesome. But she soon discovers that all this little dragon wants is to be free, and he is quite mischievous. So I'm sure that this little girl and her dragon are going to get up to plenty of hijinks, and I think it's going to be a really fun read. I was given The Garden of Lost Secrets by A.M. Howe, which definitely seems to have a secret garden type element to it. It's about a girl called Clara, who I'm pretty sure is the same name as the girl in The Secret Garden. Could be wrong, it's been a while since I've read it. But she's gone to live with her aunt and uncle in the gardener's cottage of this big manor house for the summer, and these strange things start happening. Like, she meets this boy that only comes out at night, and I forget what the other weird things are, but she also discovers a secret key which leads her into this Garden of Lost Secrets, and I think it'll be a really lovely, descriptive, lyrical read. And lastly, I was given A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, which I have started reading, and it's a lot of fun. I relate to the main character in this very strongly. She is doing a project at school, and they're allowed to decide on any topic, and she decides to solve a murder that was committed in her town. I think the murder was committed about 2 years ago, and everyone has kind of stopped investigating it because the main suspect in the murder killed himself. So the police were like, well, obviously he's guilty, we don't have to worry about investigating this anymore. But she is convinced that he was innocent, and she's determined to solve the crime, find the real killer, so that even in death his name can be cleared. Doesn't sound like it would be funny, right? But so far it is. She's just such a great character. She is so full of life and so interesting and so quirky, and I am really enjoying reading about her because, as I said, I relate to her a lot. I feel like that's the sort of thing I would have done in school. We had to do an oral once on like famous couples, either in history or in fiction, and I chose Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett just to give you some context into my headspace. So I think I'm going to really enjoy reading this in full. So that's it for Penguin. Thank you very much. All of those I got at work, and I'm so excited to get into all of them. And lastly, moving on to Pan Macmillan, these are the ones that I have the most of because Pan seems to get the most proofs, so they're extremely generous, both in a work situation and in a blogging situation. First up, I'm going to go through the ones that I've got at work, and then I'll go through the ones that were sent to me for my blog. So I got The Hand, the Eye and the Heart by Zoe Marriott, which is a transgender Mulan retelling. I lent this to a friend of mine because I knew I wouldn't get to it for a little while, and she absolutely loved it, so I'm really excited to get into it. I got The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds, which has been getting fantastic reviews. I'm so excited to read it. This is about a boy who meets a girl at a party and kind of falls head over heels for her. They start getting really close, and then she dies very suddenly. and he keeps reliving the time leading up to her death to try to save her, but the more he tries to save her, the more in saving her, other bad things start to happen, and he has to face this question of whether it's worth saving her instead of saving other people. I'm describing this quite badly, but that is what I gather it's about, and it's a really searing look at how far you would go to save the person that you love, even if it hurts other people, even if it hurts other people that you love. I think it's going to be a really emotional read, but I think it's going to be really good. I've heard really amazing things about it, and I think it's going to be heartbreaking, but excellent. Then I was given Malamander, which I am so excited to read. I've heard excellent things about this as well. It's a very, very highly anticipated middle grade. This is set in a sleepy seaside town called Erie-on-Sea, and isn't that just the best seaside town name you've ever heard? Doesn't that just precisely set the tone for what this book's going to be like? And it has this mythical sea beast that supposedly lives in the sea. Obviously it's now winter in South Africa, but for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, I feel like this is the perfect seaside read or the perfect poolside read. It's just a fun middle grade adventure story with a sprinkling of magic and mythology, and I think it's going to be a really great time. I am so excited, and it has excellent illustrations. Like, it has really cool illustrations, and it has a map, which is really exciting. So I love maps as a general rule, I do. And I love getting proof copies, but the thing that I don't always like about proof copies is they're not finished copies. Obviously that's kind of the whole point. So if it's a book that's illustrated, they often don't have illustrations or all of the illustrations, and they most of the time don't have maps, but this one has a map in it. I don't know if this is the finished map, but it's really cool. I am obsessed with the illustrations, and I'm really excited to read this book. And then the last one, I literally squealed when Fran, who is our Pan Macmillan rep, gave this to me, because I am so excited to read it. It's already out, I think, in the US, so I have been seeing some reviews of it, and reviews are looking just as excellent as I expected when the book was first introduced to me at a Pan Macmillan presentation earlier this year. From the moment I saw the cover, I knew that I was going to be obsessed with this book, and then they told us what it was about, and I was like, yes, this is my kind of book, absolutely. And that is, if you haven't guessed, The Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a feminist body horror novel. Could it be more me? I don't know. It's like this book was written for me. It takes place at an all-girls boarding school, which is on like this secluded island. These girls are in the school, cut off from the mainland, and the school has been overrun by something called the tox, which is this illness that is kind of seeping into all of them. It's making them really sick, it's making some of them lose body parts. So when one of the girls disappears, her best friend is determined to find her, even if it means breaking quarantine and leaving the school. And as she gets outside the confines of the school and starts to investigate what's happened to her best friend, she starts to realise that things are definitely not as they seem. The tox isn't what they think it is, and that the cure may not be a cure after all. It sounds fabulous, it sounds creepy, it sounds disturbing. It's about girls rising up and doing their thing, and honestly, I am here for all of that. Then the next few were very kindly sent to me by Pan Macmillan about 2 months ago, and I'm finally sharing them on here. First up, I got one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that is The Boy That Steals Houses by C.G. Drews. I already love this book with all my heart, and I haven't even read it yet. This is about a boy called Sam and his older brother Avery, who is autistic, and they've kind of been abandoned by all of the adults in their life, and Sam is determined to make a better life for them. So they survive by Sam breaking into the houses of rich families while they're away, and it's not about stealing from the houses, it's about stealing the houses. It's about even if it's only for one night, just finding a place to call home. But one night or one day, Sam breaks into the wrong house, and while he's in the house, the family arrives home. But it's a crazy, chaotic family. There are like 7 kids or something insane, and it's the kind of house where the kids' friends are always around and are just like welcomed like family. So everyone assumes when they find Sam in the house that he is friends with one of the kids, and all of the kids just assume that he's friends with one of their siblings. So he goes with this, and he manages to stay with this family for quite a while. While he's staying, he starts falling for their daughter Moxie, and she's the only one who kind of suspects that something is not quite right about him. So I think that this is going to be a really emotional ride. To be honest, the only reason I haven't started this book yet is because I know it's going to make me cry, and I don't think I'm ready. But yeah, as I said, I already love this book so much. I haven't even read it yet. It's just, we got our stock in the store the other day, and I was like, that's it, that is it. I am just going to force this on every single customer that I get because this book is going to be that amazing. Then I got The Last Life of Prince Alastor by Alexandra Bracken. I haven't read The Ghastly Tale of Prosper Redding yet, so I don't really know what this book is about. I just know that it's a bit dark, a bit sinister, and really that's all I want in a middle grade novel. So I am really excited to read this series, but I need to read The Ghastly Tale of Prosper Redding first. Is that what it's called? The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding. I need to read that first, and then I can get to this, which I am quite excited for. I've wanted to read The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding since I think it started becoming big on BookTube like a year ago, and I just never had access to it, so I definitely need to get to that soon. They also sent me Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This is the Young Readers edition. So he brought out his autobiography about 2 years ago, and they've now reworked it for younger readers. And I've never actually read Born a Crime, so I'm quite excited to try it out and dip my toes into the water with the young edition, and if I really enjoy it then I might go and read the full adult edition. Something that it is important for me to say is this is not an abridged edition, or rather it's not just an abridged edition. I suspect that there are some things that they took out just based on my experience with Trevor Noah. For the most part, it's not just that they've taken stuff out, they've entirely reworked it so that it is suitable for young readers, and I think that that's really cool. Then I got The Lost Magician by Piers Torday, which seems to be like a Chronicles of Narnia retelling, or A Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe retelling. He has a foreword in here about how he was very inspired by The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and how that's one of his favourite stories of all time. But rather than going through a wardrobe and finding this magical world, the children go through a wardrobe and find something that's a bit more contemporary and a bit more relevant to the issues that we're facing in the world today. Still with the 1940s World War II backdrop, and still with a healthy dose of magic. And lastly, they sent me Enchantee by Guita Trelez, which I've also started and I'm thoroughly enjoying so far. This is about a girl called Camille who is kind of left to look after her younger sister. She does have an older brother who's in the army, but he pretty much just drinks his and her money away. And her mother taught her this, I think they refer to it as le petit magie, small magic. So her mother taught her this magic that helps her to turn ordinary everyday objects into money. So she goes to, the scrapyard and finds nails and screws and buttons and all these little things that she can turn into coins so that she can buy things for her family. The only problem is she can't do this close to home because she can't do it more than once with the same people. So she has to keep going increasingly far away from home to keep buying essentials like bread, just to keep her and her younger sister alive. And in their house, her mother had this black chest that just seems to emanate magic, and she made Camille promise her that she would never touch this chest and she would definitely never open it. But of course one day they're really struggling. Camille kind of feels like she's at her wit's end. There's nowhere else she can go where she can still risk using her small magics, and she opens this chest, and the magic that she discovers in there completely changes her life. Suddenly she's able to get herself swept up into the court of Versailles. She's playing cards every night, she's mingling with royalty, but the magic is starting to take its toll on her, and she's starting to realise that not everyone is as they seem, that there are a lot more people using magic to blend in with society than she realised. And the problem is, if she can recognise that they're using magic, they can recognise that she's using magic. So she is not the only one leading a double life, and the other people leading double lives will go to any lengths to ensure that they're not discovered, which might mean taking care of her. So that is the last of the books that were sent to me or given to me. The last two books that I have to share with you are book 7 and book 6 in the Wheel of Time series. I worked at the Franschhoek Literary Festival last week, and the hospice shop in Franschhoek was having a book sale where all of their books were £5. So I went to have a look on one of my breaks and found these 2 copies. Story time with Kelly. I didn't have any cash on me. I was going to just like put them down and leave them, so I told the lady working there that I was just going to leave them and not buy them, and she was so kind. She was like, no, please just take them, like I'll give them to you for free. It's going to make our lives easier because we're going to have to pack up 2 fewer books. She was just so unbelievably kind. I scratched in my wallet and I found £2, which I gave to her because I felt so bad, because like she was so kind, but like it's the hospice shop, you know, it's what the money that they sell is for charity, and I felt bad, but she was just so kind and insistent that I take them. So I got these, which I'm so happy about because I don't like the current editions of Wheel of Time that are out. I don't like the current paperbacks. This edition is actually the edition that I would like to get the whole series in, but I thought that this edition was pretty cool as well, and they're not too badly matched, so if I ever can't find book 7 in this edition, then I've got this edition and it works. So I'll probably buy, like, as I find them secondhand, I'll buy whichever editions I find, as long as they're this kind of vintage 70s style. So yeah, when I get to 6 and 7 in the series, I've now got my own copies, which is great because it means I can annotate them, because I need to annotate these books because I forget a lot of important details. Yeah, I'm so happy that I can add these to my collection. So those are the books that I've got in the last month or 2. I'm so excited to read all of these. I guess I better just say goodbye to anything else in my life, you know? So if you have read any of these books, then please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye!
My life is grounded in a